Ba-da-ba-da-ba-boom.
Hey guys, welcome to Many Tribes One King, where we believe though our many backgrounds can be different, we are all part of the great family of God. My name is Dustin, and I'm here with Mr.
Caleb.
and
Hi, I'm John.
and we're going to be doing a little bit of an interview with our SSC friends, Caleb and John, who went on SSC the past 3 years. I say cumulative.
I did 1 year. He did like
I did too.
5. He did like 5.
I did not do 5.
All right. So with our first question, so obviously I want to know, where did you guys go for your SSC trips? Let's start with Caleb, since he has the fewer trips.
Maybe you want to explain what SSC is first?
Oh, well, SSC is a summer service corps.
It's
John.
Salvation and Service Corps.
Salvation and Service Corps. I'm sorry. You know, never mind.
You would know that if you actually went on the mission trip.
Well,
It's mission trips. It's a summer mission trip for young adults in the Salvation Army.
Abroad
6
or
weeks.
at home, meaning they can go to any other countries across the seas, across the borders, or they can stay here in the United States, but going into another territory or location. And for those of you who don't know what the territories I'm talking about, the Salvation Army is parted up into 4 different territories in the United States: Eastern, Southern, Central, and Western.
Southern's the best, and that's a video for another time. So back to your first question. Sorry.
First question. So, Caleb, where did you go for your SSC trip?
So I had the opportunity to go to a country in Africa called Tanzania, where it's right next to Kenya on the map.
Interesting.
You can see Madagascar.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. John, so where did you go for both your SSC trips?
So my first year, I went to Romania, and we spent a little bit of time in Moldova also. And for those of you who don't know, Moldova is one of those Eastern European countries. I want to say it's to the east of Romania, but it's been years since I looked at a map, so I don't know. And no, actually, being serious, I used to have a raised map that I used.
Yeah.
And then for my second summer, I went to the United Kingdom and Ireland territory. So we went to England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and then Ireland. And that's why I have my Dublin Salvation Army shirt on.
Well, tilt it down a little bit so they can see what your shirt is.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Yep, that's Dublin City Salvation Army. Thank you, John. And if you didn't notice, Caleb is wearing a Tanzania dress shirt. It looks really wonderful.
Handcrafted.
Oh, yeah, it's handcrafted. So, starting with John, what drew you to SSC?
Okay.
We had the gates firing. I warned you.
I know.
You know it's going to be a good answer when it's...
All right. So, here's what I remember for my first SSC. I had no idea what it was. So, the embarrassing thing for me is that I was a late graduate from Corps Cadets. So, I actually just graduated Corps Cadets this year. So, we were doing a Corps Cadet lesson, and we were talking about Paul's mission trips and everything back in 2017. And I was really fascinated by everything Paul had done, in his service to God. And then I felt God calling me. He's like, hey, guess what? I want you doing these too. And my first thought was, okay, God has a sense of humor. And then, went through the whole, I don't think you really want me to go, God. I'm no good at this. I'm a train wreck when it comes to talking to people. And then eventually I just was like, well, I guess, I'll sign up if you want me to go, and we'll see what happens. And so I went through the process, and loved it so much, came back the next year and did it again.
All right, Caleb. So, what drew you to SSC? Was it John that drew you there, or was it something else?
It was not John.
Reach.
Keep
It
it
was not.
PG.
Um,
Never mind.
pretty much like one of my favorite people in the Bible is Paul and everything because he helped with the like spreading Christianity throughout the world and everything. And in Salvation Army history, uh, George Scott Railton was pretty much the man responsible for kind of being like Paul and traveling to different parts of the world and like starting Salvation Army and everything. But there was in 2018, we were in Atlanta, Georgia for a young adult conference. And I've heard about SSC in the past. I've known people who have done it. And normally at like territorial events or something or at youth councils, like they'll show the SSC testimonies and everything. But in this particular scenario, we were in the chapel and they showed the testimonies, and I saw a few names, of course, that I knew. One of them being my sister's boyfriend at the time. And I've heard him talk about his mission trip to Ghana and everything. And that kind of it kind of drew my interest in it. And I started thinking to myself, like one day before I get older and everything, this is one thing I want to do. And so it was at the Young Adult Conference. During that time when they were showing the testimonies, it was like God kind of like just tapped me on my shoulder and was like, hey, I know you don't really, I know you're not really big into traveling and everything out of country, but this is something I would like for you to try. And so again, like John, I was like, I'm not sure about this. But then it was like, I kind of just asked them, like, if this is something you want me to do, like, just send me, like, give me a sign or something. And it was after the service, like, I walked up to my sister and her boyfriend, and I'm like, I'm kind of interested in doing SSC. And they were both supportive and everything. And like, I told my mother I was interested, and she supported me. Everybody at my core supported me, friends, family. And I remember the day I got the call saying that I got accepted. I was at my core in the chapel, and everybody else was getting their like acceptance calls and everything. John had actually told me the same day that he got accepted. And so I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not, or maybe I haven't gotten accepted. And then I saw, well, actually, I had gone to the bathroom and I left my phone charging at the piano. And I come back and I saw I had a missed call on the voicemail from a number from Atlanta. And when I answered, it was Giovanni Smith, who's in charge of the SSC program for the territory. She's like, hey, Caleb, it's JoJo about your SSC application. And I called back and I was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't behind my phone. And so she was like, it's okay. I just wanted to call you to tell you that you got accepted. And I was I was happy because I'm like, all right, this is cool. This is cool. And she asked me, like, do you want to know what where you're going? And one thing about that summer was John was the one who wanted to go to Tanzania. I was the one that wanted to go to the UK. But she told me you're going to Tanzania, Africa, and I'm like, well, that should be fun. Mainly because it's, again, I wanted to go to the UK, but you send a blind guy to UK, not me.
I heard that.
You were meant to.
I enjoy all the sights, Caleb, so you know.
You mean sight touching?
All right, we're not telling that story.
Actually, that draws into my next question. We're going to start with Caleb. So this is primarily on, you're at the location, so it's not overall.
Okay.
But
okay.
Your most memorable moment on SSC. So you're at your location. What was the most memorable thing on that week? And John, you can give one for both.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. There was a lot.
Let's stick with one.
I think the most memorable that I always talk about every time somebody, like I mentioned, I've been to Africa. People are like, "Oh, did you see any elephants?" That's the first question they always ask, and I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I didn't get to pet it, but I saw it." But honestly, the most memorable moment from the trip, definitely the 6.5 hour safari ride through the Serengeti, seeing all these beautiful animals, except for the wildebeest. I hate those things, but yeah.
Aww. It's because of what they do, isn't it?
No, they freaking, one of them stood in the middle of the road. We're trying to get by, and he just stands there like, do something.
It's really cousin Mufasa. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah.
Okay, so John, now on to you.
All right. So from Romania, what we mainly were doing there, we did a lot of vacation Bible schools with the kids. And I think my most... Huh?
I said I had a lot of youth councils.
Yeah. So I think my most memorable moment from Romania was Aaron McLean taught me how to do melodramas, to do the Bible lessons with the kids. And I remember giving a melodrama one day, and the kids were just so into it. Like, they were laughing, they were learning, they were so involved with it and everything. And little did I know, the officer was recording me.
One of these days, I gotta get a hold of that video and put it on our page.
I will find a link to it and I will send it to you.
Oh, good. I will post it to the page.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's only part of the melodrama, because he took and he made a video of our whole time there, like us playing with the kids and everything.
Okay.
So I'll find the link for you. But yeah, I remember just, teaching them. I remember the story we were doing. We were doing Noah's Ark. And then in the United Kingdom and Ireland, I actually gave my first sermon when I was there. I was in Northern Ireland at, it was one of the cores in Belfast. I don't remember which one. They have 4 cores in Belfast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think Baltimore's bad. And basically it was their youth councils. Now, not that many people were there, although my long-lost twin was there. There was a guy who actually looked just like me.
Oh, great. That's what we need, another John in the world. I mean, look, a tree.
I'm going to ignore that. And so I gave my first sermon. It was on Matthew 12, verses 46 through 50. And it was good. I was very nervous. I was very overwhelmed by it, but I enjoyed it, and it's one of the memories I'm always going to carry with me.
Good, 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 good. All right. So, starting with John. So, who impacted you the most on your trip or your trips?
Who impacted me the most? All right. I would have to say, I believe he's a captain now. He was a lieutenant at the time. Lieutenant Tim Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very mentor, he was a very good mentor. I remember before I gave my sermon, I was so nervous, like I was on the brink of a panic attack. And he came up to me, he's like, let's go pray. And so we went and we prayed. He talked to me, he calmed me down, and then we had a good time of prayer. And then I remember after we finished praying, he's like, all right, we got some time before the sermon start, before you're supposed to give your sermon. I'm going to get you a cup of coffee. Every preacher needs a cup of coffee before they start.
Oh, I see where that start with your coffee craze.
No, I already have the coffee craze. But yeah, just, that meant so much to me that he, I didn't have to ask him. He sought me out. He found me. He knew I was struggling, and he was obedient to the Spirit when the Spirit told him, "Hey, John needs some help." So he came. He got me, and yeah. So I would definitely say he impacted me the most.
Okay, so on your second trip.
That was my second trip.
Okay, so on your first trip, who was your most who impacted you the most?
On my first. Ooh. That's a hard one.
Okay.
Obviously, the children. There was a lot of them. I mean, Niku was really good. He helped out a lot. Of course, the majors that we were with, they helped out. I don't. I'd say Niku. I want to say he'd probably be a captain by now. Also.
Okay.
That sounds like an anime name.
That's messed up, Caleb. That's
It
messed up.
does. It really sounds like an anime character, Miku.
Okay, moving on.
Caleb, who impacted you the most on your Tanzania trip? Was it the wildebeest?
No, what am I supposed to say there?
Was it the elephants?
Yes, let me tell you, an elephant impacted me the most. No. Oh, man. I don't know. Like we met so many people in the 6 weeks, and we all grew very close to them. But I think the one person who actually impacted me a lot, his name was, I think he's still a lieutenant. His name was Lieutenant Joseph, and it was like everywhere we went, he was there. Like he lived in, I think he lived on the compound in Dar es Salaam, but it was like everywhere we went, it's like he just pops up, like, oh, how did you get here? Oh, I drove. Why didn't you just drive with us? And it was, but he was the one that would, like, he took us on tours and everything and stuff like that. He took us, he introduced us to his family, his two brothers and his parents. he told us stories about how he became an officer in the Salvation Army and everything, and just hearing all the stories and everything and all the times we spent with him, it it hit me, because it was like yeah. At first, I'm be honest, there were problems on the team, but like him with being with Lieutenant Joseph, he showed us like the positives of being on a team and everything, and he was actually the one who arranged like this big trip for us to go and investigate Zanzibar, which is a pretty big historical site in Tanzania. He paid money and everything for it, and because he told us like he's going to make the best of our trip, and he definitely has. And I hopefully one day in the future our paths can cross again, and whatever the Lord has planned. Simple as that.
Okay, so this concludes part 1